Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media, and I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. Welcome back. I'm happy that you are here. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur trying to get over that hump and make things happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream that wants to go forward and accomplish that dream. The shirt I'm wearing on this episode says "Markham to Millions." Markham to Millions is a phrase that I coined many years ago. And some of my friends, some of my closest friends, they all have adapted to that same phrase, that same mentality. I actually did an episode on Markham to Millions a long time ago as well, in the early years of Mogul Motivation. But Markham to Millions simply is all about going from where you used to be to going to where you want to be, right? I'm from Markham, Illinois. That's what I claim as my home, a south suburb of Chicago, just outside the city limits. But my goal is to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I refuse to leave this earth the same way I entered this earth, which is poor, which is with very little resources and all of that. Now, I do understand that money is fleeting, but nonetheless, I want to do it for myself, and I want to do it so I can bless others on this earth. And that's a goal of mine. Now, with that being said, yesterday, for the past few days, I had a lot of enthusiasm towards my goals. As an entrepreneur, as a creative, you're always going to have those ebbs and flows, right? You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. And I had a very big high the past week. I was feeling good. The words were flowing for my next novel. I was making some great connections, dealing with some very great and pleasant clients in my photography business. Everything was going good. And then yesterday I saw something that knocked me off my square. I saw something that pretty much sucked all the life out of me. All of that enthusiasm, all of that joy that I had the past week was sucked out of me in an instant, just like that. All because of one little thing that I saw. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to learn how to break the sieges in our minds. You see, we are under siege. When you are born into this world, you might not know it, but every single day there is a siege building around you. Sieges are very dangerous. Sieges are meant to force you into submission. You see, I'm a history nerd. I love history, and I definitely love military history. And sieges were used to break fortresses, cities, encampments to their knees, to bring them to their knees, to starve them of all their resources, to cut off all their supply lines, to make them surrender because there is no way out for them. So in our minds, we are under siege. Doubt, anxiety, fear, unbelief, all of these things are building sieges around our minds, but not just our minds, around the good and positive things in our minds, around our hope, around our faith, around our skills, around our enthusiasm, around our joy. All of these things are under siege by all of the negativity that this world has put into our soul. You see, we don't build the siege ourselves. The world builds these sieges. Capitalism builds these sieges. Racism builds these sieges. People being mean to you builds these sieges. People telling you no builds these sieges. Everything that doesn't go in our favor continues to build these sieges around our hope and around our joy and around everything that we desire in life. So therefore, our resources are cut off. Our supplies are limited, and we are being starved and forced into submission to accept that fear, to accept that doubt, and to accept everything that this world is force feeding us to take. So therefore, when I saw that thing yesterday that took away all of my enthusiasm that I maintained for the past week, when I saw that one small thing, that siege that I had broken had refortified itself. Let me tell you something. Even though you did not create these sieges around your mind, around your hope, around your joy, you have all the power to break those sieges, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I want you to accentuate all that you have accomplished. I want you to exploit and to expose everything that you possess in your spirit, your talent, your skills, your enthusiasm. Do not minimize everything that you accomplish with maximum effort. We are so fixated on what we want to be. I am so fixated on being a millionaire that I cannot realize that I'm a long way from Markham now. I'm a long way from that boy that didn't have any money. I'm a long way from that boy that couldn't speak up for himself. I'm a long way from that little boy that had dreams and all he had to do was write those dreams down on a notebook, because I'm living those dreams right now. I'm not a millionaire yet. I'm not exactly where I want to be just yet, but I'm exactly where I need to be, and I'm not where I used to be. That's what you have to do right now, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand that you have come a long way on this journey. Sure, you might have a long way to go, but you also came a long way. You are not where you started all those years ago. You are not where you started. You are not what you used to be. Do not minimize the things you've accomplished with maximum effort. And once you realize how far you have come, that's when you can remember that you have the power to break those sieges, because you was under siege at one point back then, and you broke those sieges with hope. You broke those sieges with faith. You broke those sieges with your skills. You broke those sieges with talent. You broke those sieges with everything that God possessed in your spirit, because the scripture says in the book of Philippians, God will supply all of your needs. All of your resources will come from God, and because they're coming from God, there is no siege that has been created around your mind that this world built up that cannot be broken. You have the power to break all of these sieges. So whatever you are going through right now in your entrepreneurial journey, in your personal life, it does not matter whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's anything that is not of God. You have the power to break it with everything that comes from God. Your hope will not be diminished. Your faith will not expire. You will continue to accentuate everything that you accomplish in this life. You will continue to maximize and highlight and not shy away from the talents and the skills you have. You come this far by faith. You come this far because you co-labored with God. So therefore you can continue to go a little longer because you have that power and you can break that siege. We are no longer under siege. So whenever you have those thoughts that tell you, you know what, it can't be done, even though for the past week you've been telling yourself it can be done, break the siege. Whenever you have those thoughts that tell you, you know what, maybe I can't do this, I'm afraid, break the siege with hope. Whenever you have those thoughts that tell you they're gonna say no, it's not gonna work out in my favor, break the siege and tell yourself it will work out in my favor. You see, we have to continue to brainwash ourselves and train our minds. That's another old episode of Mogul Motivation, the brainwash. We have to continue to train our minds every single day. Whenever we tell ourselves something negative, we have to counteract it with something positive. It takes a lot. I'm doing it right now. So I'm practicing right now with you, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of effort, but it's necessary, because on this earth, we've been on this earth 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years plus. That is a lot of sieges that we have to break. That's a lot of clutter. That's a lot of dirt, a lot of mud we got to fight through, but it's possible and it's necessary as long as we continue to train our minds. Every time something negative sneaks in and tries to fortify our minds, we have to counteract it with something positive to break it right back down. Every time you tell yourself it's not going to work out, tell yourself it will work out. I don't care how big or how out of reach it may seem to be. Tell yourself it is in reach and it is possible, because again, there were things that you accomplished in the past that seemed out of reach and you still accomplished those things. You can accomplish this now, whether it's entrepreneurial, personal career, it does not matter. You can accomplish anything, but it's up to you to break that siege. We are no longer under siege, ladies and gentlemen. We are liberated, and our hope, our faith, our skills, our talents, our enthusiasm, our joy will liberate us, and it will take us across the finish line. So that's my message this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. We are no longer under siege. This world will constantly try to build up those sieges over and over again, but we will continue to break them. We will continue to lift them. We will continue to liberate ourselves, because God will supply all of our needs. And as long as we co-labor with God, we will get to where we want to be. So if this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, I ask for two things as always. Number one, leave a 5-star review. And number two, please pass it on to somebody else that may benefit from it as well.